Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with part 1 of this sweet, sweet, tiny journal that's going to go in this Altoid mint box. This is not the minis, it's the regular size, so it measures 3, and I need my special ruler. Hold on. If you guys have been watching me for any length of time, I can't read a ruler very well. I can read the normal measurements, the common measurements. This is 3 and 11/16 inches long, and it is 2 3/8 inches this way. So we're going to make a journal that's going to fit in there. So I previewed this on my on the mini fairy journal giveaway. So when I did that drawing, I went ahead and gave you a sneak peek at this upcoming project. So I'm going to show you the entire process. I'm not going to leave anything out at all. So the first thing we're going to start with doing is we're going to paint this Altoid tin, just the parts that we can get to. I need to rinse it out. That was bad. Bad on me. But let me just talk while I'm doing this. So the reason why we're going to go ahead and cover it with gesso is because it's going to need several coats. So we're going to do this on camera, and then we'll come back to it at another time and do the next layer and the next layer. And we're going to be building kind of a three-dimensional cover on this top of this tin. It's going to be really, really cool. It's epic. Right up my alley. I love mixed media. It's my passion. And so being able to do anything mixed media is going to be fun. So let me just move these other bits out of the way, and I will talk to you about those in a second. But I want to get this going because, again, it's going to take time and it's going to take many layers. So I'm just using my Faber-Castell gesso because it was given to me, and I may as well just use it, rather than let it kind of go to waste. So gesso is kind of a primer. It creates a layer of a barrier, not only a barrier for like liquid, so like if you're doing art on paper, you don't want the wet medium to just get absorbed into the paper. This is not working. Hold on, guys, because it's beating up. So I think what I need to do here, pardon me, we're going to learn together. I have not really done this on tin. So I have hopefully I have it right here, easily accessible, but I have a piece of sandpaper. There it is, sand block. So I think what we need to do is rough this up, because otherwise it's not going to adhere. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do that and see if we can make this work. This isn't very tough. This might not be enough. We might have to come back to this another time. I perhaps, just on second thought and for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and pause on doing that coat of gesso, because I think I'm going to have to do more to this to get this to adhere. I may need to cover it with paper first. I'm not sure. I've never done it on metal like this. You can see I was able to take off some of that color, but I can still feel it's very slippery. So my apologies, guys. I didn't think that through. I will do that. What I'll do is I'll do that off camera. Basically, it's just giving that whole tin several layers of gesso so that it can withstand the other mediums that we're going to put on it. Creates a great base, and it's porous, and so it will hold things once you get a good several coats of gesso on your project. So I have some washi tape here because I have some vintage book pages in here that are going to need some reinforcement. So I just thought I would get this tiny thin washi tape. So we've got that. I've got my awl for doing my my holes for the signatures. It's going to have 2 signatures. I'm just going to use some embroidery floss for the binding of this. I'm going to do a 3 pamphlet stitch just like I normally would. Have my bone folder, my ruler, And so this is just the template for what the size is going to be of the actual journal. I am going to be rounding the corners, all of the corners, but this measures, special ruler. I got this on Amazon. It's a lifesaver. So it is 2 1/4 by basically 3, almost 3 3/16. So that's an approximation there. But what we are going to do is we're going to be rounding the corners on the actual pages. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to fold all the pages, get the signatures going, round all the corners, and then if we have time we will go ahead and sew the signatures together into the cover. So that being said, I'm going to set, this is all the ephemera from the Cottage garden kit from My Porch Prints that we're using for this project. So what I did is I took the kit and I printed 6 to a page, and that's how I'm getting these teeny tiny little pockets. So it's going to be so fun. I love tiny things. So I have not yet looked at how many pages I want to be in the journal. So we're going to kind of have to play this by ear and see how many pages we can actually get in a signature and have it still fit in the tin. So it is probably better that we were not able to do this, because we're going to need to be touching this while we're doing this. So let's just see. I have the couple of book pages here. So while we've got them open, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce them with some washi tape. If I can find the end. Seriously? There we go. And I just like to reinforce the center, which is hard to see. So I'm going to grab my ink here and do that really quick. Just got my archival ink here, and I just want to be able to see that center. Goodness gracious, it's really crumbly. Wow. I could feel it like tearing. So this is really old. Let me see if the book tells me how old this is. This is a modern notation, property of some Catholic church. And let's see if we can find a copyright on this. See how old it is. 1927. So that being said, I am weary of treating everything like it's precious and I can't use it, and so I am using originals. I can always get more. I'm not gonna hoard them anymore. So basically that is so weak that you can see it's actually coming apart, but I do want to use the book pages, so we're going to go ahead and get a couple of strips of washi tape on each side of this paper and just really get that sturdy. Okay. In fact, I'm going to probably do 3 because I don't know, I didn't really quite place that one where I needed to in terms of the, like I wanted one to go across the very middle and then one on either side of that, roughly speaking. So this should be fine. And so I am not going to wrap that around because I don't want to create unnecessary bulk here, but we'll do the same on the other side, or similar. I'm not sure if it's going to need all of that. Probably. I can see that there's a weakness there, so I'm going to do the same. This time I'm going to try to get it right on that center brown line that I inked, and then we'll go one piece on either side. And so this is a great way to reinforce your vintage pages, things that feel weak, so that you can actually use them in your journals, because it's a shame to have all that old stuff and not be able to use it because it's too fragile. So my encouragement is to use what you have. So there we go. So I'm just gonna trim that off as well. Get that off my scissors. And I'm going to do the other one really quick, and I'll just speed through that. You guys don't need to see a repeat of it, but I do want to keep everything, I want you to see all the steps, I guess is what I'm saying. There we go. And then we're going to start folding our other pages and assembling our signature in the order, and order the pages the way that we want them. So my general recipe for signatures is I like to have vintage book pages or music pages. I like to have vellum pages. In this little journal, I'm not doing any vellum pages, but I do have this. This is this 3M masking paper that I love to use because it's got that crinkly sound. So we've got one of those for each signature, not exactly the same size. 2 pieces of coffee dyed paper, so I like coffee dyed paper in mine as well. These are from my stash. And usually I have magazine pages and things like that too, but because this is such a tiny journal, that's really not going to work, right? Because you can't get them that small, and you can't really cut them down because the images are so big. And then this is going to be the paper I use for the inside covers, once you've, the inside cover, goodness. And then this will be the cover itself. So I'm going to set that aside. And let's go ahead and start folding these papers and rounding our edges. So I'm going to go ahead and just fold, making sure that I get that nice and even as I can. And then as I go, I'm going to kind of think about which ones I really love and which ones I want to have be part of the what I want to be on the front page of each signature. So I definitely like that one. And let's see what we have here. Oh, I love that one. Yeah, this one is a must, and that one is a must. Oh, we've got a little bit of a white edge here. I print on the other side of my digitals with different tea stain and coffee stain digitals, and sometimes they don't fill up the page all the way. But that's okay, we can work with it. There we go, there's another one, and then I definitely want this one. I'm not going to worry about that. I can always ink it up and it will go away. So I'm not gonna trim that off this time. So, and usually I do, depending on the signature, so I usually have 2 coffee dyed papers, 2 vintage music or book pages, other specialty things like envelopes and things like that, envelope inserts. I'm not going to be doing any of that because the journal is so small. So I will probably be using more digital papers than I would normally use in a journal. Oh, I love this one, just little writing page, which will be super fun. And we will ink this up, and I will cut out the inking because I think you guys have probably seen that before. So I want that to be a cover, a front page. I want that to be a front page. I want that to be a front page. So let's set those aside and see where we land with other pages. So we will do a vintage book page. I'm sorry, that is out of view. Goodness. So that's 3 and 3, and that's 4. Boy, that one is just tough. Really tough. Does not want to lay down. And there. And there, and there. So then basically what I do is I try to look at the thickness of that, because it's going to get much thicker when you start putting ephemera and pockets and such in it. So the depth of our tin is special ruler is 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch. So that means we need to be thinking about, so I'm going to just again, just for the sake of instruction, I'm going to show you how thick this is just as it is. So it is about 1/4 of an inch thick. So 1/4 and 1/4, so that's a half, right? 1/4 and 1/4 is a half. And so that's a half. So we've still got room. So I hope that you understand what I'm doing there. I don't want there to be so many pages that you feel like you cannot fluff up the journal by putting a bunch of ephemera in it. So that's why I'm kind of carefully measuring what we have going on. So I am going to pick 2 more of the digitals here to put in each signature. So, oh, I love this one. Let's do that one. And I'm just kind of creasing as I go. Usually I don't crease as I go. I just kind of get everything in place and then I go back and do all that. And then we need one more for this signature, and this one had that one as the front. So I think this one would be pretty. So let's do that. Yay! So fun, so fun, so fun. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start rounding the edges. I'm not going to round everything. Well, if the page is smaller than the front of each signature, I'm not going to round them because they'll be in. But the idea of rounding it is just so that it will fit easily. That's a little bit of a tight fit just because the tin itself is round. So I'm going to see if I can do this with 2 layers here. It's a little tough, but we're going to try. Oh my goodness, that's awful. I'm going to have to do it one at a time. One corner. Okay. So there we go with all of the rounding part. And so now we're going to go ahead and ink. And I do just remove that from the video because, again, everybody I think knows how to ink. Basically, you're just taking whatever color you want. I use Vintage Photo Archival ink. You can't actually get this in a pad, so you have to buy the DIY archival ink pad, which is just a plain pad, and then you buy the Vintage Photo Archival re-inker. And the reason why I do that is because I like my ink to be permanent, because if I wanted to do any kind of other mediums, or I wanted to do some wet medium on it, that ink is not going to move. It's permanent. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through this, and cut this out rather, and I'll be back with you. Okay, just coming to the end of the inking. I am having trouble with this vintage paper because it's tearing at the top as well, so I may have to do some more reinforcing, or not on the top. Yeah, I guess on the top, but here. See, I've got a tear, so we'll have to fix that, but that's okay. I maybe won't use the pink for that, we'll see. And then I think I got my signatures a little bit mixed up here because I've got a little pile over there and a bigger pile here. So we will have to sort this. This is that 3M paper. I don't worry about inking it completely. I just like to get a little bit of dark bits in there because it's kind of hard to hold on to. And it's not completely transparent. Like, let me show you what I mean. So this is my ruler, so you can see my ruler under it, but it's not like super transparent. So let me just cap that ink really quick and see what I did here, because I think we had three of these pages. 1, 2, 3. And we've got a book page and 2. Yeah, that's right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I guess we're right. Okay. I am just not really with it. So I'm going to use this other washi tape that's more transparent to repair those pages. So let me see if this needs, yeah, this needs a little bit of repair here. Got some tears when I inked. That sometimes happens. And I'm going to do a really rough tear because I don't want this to look like super neat and tidy. I want it to look rough and old. So just going to do that. And oh boy, that side is really bad. Probably should put this all along it, but I don't want it to look like that. You know what I mean? I don't want it to look like, I want it to look old. I'm masking the fact that it's actually really torn to it being kind of old. And then I'm just gonna put another piece just here to make it look interesting. Whoops, I just tore it. And I'm going to trim off that little bit of extra. There we go. There we go. Oh, I love the look of that though. Look at how old it looks. I almost like that better than the pink. I wish I had just done that. Let's go ahead and repair this one just since we've got the tape out here. So I think I had tears on this edge. So So making a tiny journal is a little bit different than making a full-blown journal in terms of, well, there's just a lot of things. It's easier to do everything because everything is tiny, you know. A bigger journal takes longer because there's just a whole lot more to think about, and everything's bigger and all of that stuff. So hopefully that's going to be okay. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. Okay. So let's start putting these signatures together. If I can remember which one I wanted to have on the front. Oh boy. I think I didn't decide on this one, but I want it because my cover is going to have this purple tones in it, so I think that would be pretty. So we're going to do that, and then we'll do maybe our coffee dyed paper there, and then we'll do another page from the kit. I think I'm actually going to turn that one around, like so. So you can, when you're using a digital, you can have it fold this way or you can have it fold this way. But in this case, I want it to do this. So I guess that's the same as that. Goodness, this one I'll reverse. Sorry guys. Oops. I have another tear. This might not have been the best plan for this paper, or this vintage music paper. Boy, oh boy. We can keep repairing as we go though. I still like the look of it. And then we've got the music page. We'll stick in there like so. And then we have this page to the signature. I think I'll do this one reversed as I just mentioned. So everything is visible in the end. It's not like it affects anything. And then I'm going to stick this paper here. And then there we've got our first signature, which is plenty thick. By the time that gets in here, it's going to take up some space. So right now that's where we are. And in a real journal, I allow 1 inch spine for every signature. So if I do a 3 signature journal, the spine is going to be 3 inches, because that allows room for growth. It allows room for pockets and tags and all of the chunky things that we often like to put in. And then I don't mind that as long as it doesn't impede the journal. So it's not going to be a problem. We may discover we have to trim some stuff up, but we'll get there when we get there. This actually, this masking paper is just a little bit too weak for it to be sticking out because it's very fragile. So that is our first signature. I'm going to reach up here and grab my paper clips really quick, like so, and then we will move on to the other signature. I will also do, when I do the mixed media fairy journal, it's going to be a full-blown mixed media wonder fairy garden journal, and I will do that one with you every step of the way. I don't usually create all the ephemera on camera, but as far as the construction, selecting the signature pages, selecting the other pages, the binding, all of that, I will make sure that we do that together. So I think I wanted this one to be the cover on the second signature, so we'll do that. I'm going to stick my music page in there. It's a little bit big. And then we'll do this one. And then we'll do coffee dyed. Actually, let's reverse this since we put the 3M masking paper on the center of the other one. And then we will put this one, and we're going to do the reverse. So we're going to put it like this. And then our coffee dyed will go here. So stinking cute. Okay, so let's go ahead and prepare our cover. So this is what we're going to be using for the cover. So basically what I want to do is because this is just a mini little journal, I am just going to stick this in here, and I want my spine to be probably, let's see what this is like. It's almost an inch. It's 7/8 of an inch, or 13/16 of an inch. I think I should still just do the signature, or do the spine 1 5/8. So the spine is going to be 1 5/8. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get this in place here. And I like to have the cover go beyond. So actually, let's make our marks for the spine first. I'm going to kind of go, I've got plenty of paper here, so I'm just going to move this way so that I have plenty of room to grow. And I need to find my pencil. So I said, oh, what did I say? Oh my goodness, what did I say? I said 5/8. So we're going to do the spine 5/8 of an inch. So obviously, actually we can do it bigger. Let's do it. I'm indecisive, clearly. You know what? We're going to do it 3/4. We're going to do it 3/4. So, so that means I'm going to put a mark here and a mark here. So that's my spine. And I'm going to get my scoreboard out because I want to make sure I get a really good crease there. So give me just a quick second. I'm going to need to move a little bit of things out of the way. But I want to make sure we get a really crisp fold and a straight fold. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my scoreboard. And let me see if I can get this in camera for you. I'm not paying attention to these markings. I'm just looking at where I made my marks, and that's where I want my score lines to be. There we go. And then another one here. I could have used this to measure too, but I'm actually not a huge fan of scoreboards, so I only use them when I have to. So now we're going to go ahead and fold that in like so. I'm going to give it a good crease. And then we're going to find the other side and do the same. We're going to fold that in like so. Okay, there we go. And that's that. So that is our spine right there. There's our spine. So let's make sure. I think that's going to be okay because we do have a little bit more. If we close it, we do have a little bit more landscape than when it's open. So I think that's going to be just fine. So that is our spine. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to trim this up completely because we can trim it once we have the signatures in. And I think because it's going to be housed in a tin, I'm not too worried about the structure of it as far as the strength. It's going to be fine. I wish that this paper had some color on the inside, but, well, it's going to be strengthened because, yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in here. We're just going to glue these two together, and that's going to make us, give us a thicker base there. So let's just mark that again, and we're going to score the second piece as well. Sorry about that. Live and learn, right? This is the channel for learning, not perfection. There we go. Normally I do fabric covers or I do mixed media covers. I don't usually do straight up paper covers. So this will be a little bit different for me. Just erasing those lines. I don't want those to show. If they do, I'm trying to eliminate them just so they don't show. I don't know if they would, but give that a crease. Find our other fold, give that a crease. Okay, so there we go. So now, well, it's going to go the other way because we're going to glue this down together. So let's go ahead and use our new glue, and I will be sure to link this in the video or on the supply list. This is a new glue to me. It's like the Barely Arts glue. I really love it. So so yeah, I'll let you know what it is. I will let you know. You know what? Ugh. I'm waffling. Just gonna trim this up. I don't want to be dealing with things that are overhanging while I'm trying to sew the signatures in. I can trim it to size here in a minute once I know exactly how wide I want each of the bits to be. But I'm going to go ahead and I would sew it, but I'm not going to do any special stuff on this journal. I might do some sewing on some of the ephemera, but not going to do that on camera. Oh, come on, glue, as I'm just bragging about you, and now you won't come out. I lost my original pin, so I don't have a pin that will go all the way down in there now. So that might be a very, very big problem. Very big problem. Okay, so let's get a different glue. Let's get a different glue. Let's get my true Barely Arts glue, which is this one. I don't know if see, that pin is too big. This one came with a skinnier pin, and I think the pin has to go farther down in order to keep it from clogging. So I need to definitely find a solution to that. So, sorry guys. So we're going to go ahead and just apply glue here all over the inside, if this will come out. And I like the Barely Arts, or this other one that I found, because you have a little bit of time to move your paper before it completely sets. And you don't get that luxury with Art Glitter Glue. Art Glitter Glue is my favorite for other things, but not when you need a little bit of wiggle room. Like if you know that you're going to be doing something tricky, the Barely Arts is better, or Fabri-Tac or something like that. So there we go. So we're going to go ahead and put this on here, and I'm going to try to get it as straight as possible first time, because again, there's not a ton of time to move it. I just want to make sure mostly that is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder, and I'm going to just push that out and get all that glue moved. Some things shifted a little bit there, but we're covered. So you can see we've got some overhang here, but not a really big deal. So let me just go ahead and trim this off really quick. And trim this off. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and get my creases again. You do want to be careful when you've just glued something, messing with it too much, because you can get, wrinkles and stuff like that, because the paper, it's not set yet, but I think that's going to be fine. This is now double thickness. And so basically what this actually is, I print my digitals on 65-pound paper, so that means this is 130-pound paper. So it's going to be great. It's going to be no problem at all. So let's go ahead and ink this up before we get any signatures in it, because I don't want to fuss with that later. And I do have some overhang here I want to trim off. Oh, we need to measure it. Goodness gracious. These pieces are too big. Seriously, Cara-Renee. So I like it to hang over a little bit. It's not really hanging over on the top and bottom, but on the end, I don't want it to stick out obviously that much. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put a pencil line there, and we're going to go ahead and trim that off. Just grab my cutter here. I've got so much stuff on my desk, so I apologize. I can't keep everything in view as far as my tools. So there's that. And then we're just going to cheat and do this. Bring this over here and cut that edge off. Is that safe to do, Cara-Renee? Is that wise? Is that a wise decision? I don't know. Is it? Probably not. Probably not. Sometimes you can get away with shortcuts, and sometimes it's really not worth the risk. There we go. This is going to be so cute, though. So cute. Okay, now we can ink it up. Sometimes, if I didn't have my head, if my head wasn't attached to my body, I'd lose it. Is that what they say? So I re-inked my pad here, and I think I re-inked it with the wrong color because this is looking really red, unless one of my re-inker bottles was a different lot, you know, and it's because it looks very red to me, but I don't know. I can't figure it out because the label on the bottle is all torn, so I may have to look at that in the future and make sure that it's actually the right color. It's archival ink, I can tell by the bottle, but that's about all that I'm certain of. I'm going to ink those edges too because I like that dark look. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. So sweet. I love little journals. I made one a while back out of a cough drop box. That was really fun. And then I made one out of my recent mini fairy journal I made out of a fishing line box. And it was a little bit bigger than this. It was like a 5 by 5 or something. 5, I don't know. Let's see. This is the mini fairy journal. It hasn't gone out in the mail yet. Yeah, it was 3 3/4 by 4 1/4, so still tiny. Okay, so that is our little cover. So exciting. Okay, so now what we need to do, I need to grab my foam here. So I moved it so I don't have to get up every time because it seems like I always forget to grab it. So what we're going to do is I'm not going to make my holes separately in the signature from the actual spine. Usually I'll make my holes in the spine and I'll make my holes in the signature separate, but because we're working so small, I think we're going to be okay to just do it the shortcut way. I do like to secure my pages though with some paper clips just so they don't shift. That's especially important if you've got papers that are different sizes. Mine are mostly the same size other than this one. So I've got my awl somewhere. Where did you go? I need to cap my my gesso here though. It's gonna dry out. Where did my awl go? Seriously? There it is, right in front of my face. So basically what I do is I'm going to come in here and I am going to mark though. That would probably be a good idea. Yeah, let's mark. So I'm going to mark here. Oh goodness, I've got that paper that's a little bit shorter. So I'm just coming down here. I'm going to make my first hole here so it will capture that. So there and there. So it's not exact. It doesn't have to be exact. Now, it's a little bit more critical when your spine is not hidden, like it's not a hidden spine, which basically you glue your signatures into a spine piece that glues into your actual journal. That's not what we're doing here today. And then I'm just going to I Spy and estimate what the middle is. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. So now I can line this up, hopefully. This is tricky. The shortcuts are sometimes tricky. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here and I'm going to, what am I doing? I'm going to turn this, guys. Sorry. Actually, and I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to put a mark here, a mark here, and a mark here. Hopefully that's going to be enough. It's going to be sufficient. And then we will go ahead and sew the first signature in. So I'm going to go ahead and poke my hole. So I'm going to poke my hole first in my signature just because I don't want everything to shift. So there. That's not in the middle, is it? Goodness gracious. It's all right. It's done. It's a done deal now. And there. And here. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and poke my holes in. And this was this the first one or the second one? I think it doesn't really matter. Where's my other one? Yeah, this was going to be the first one, so it needs to go on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and poke my holes in my spine right here. Actually, let's just do all of them right now. There we go. Okay, so I was going to sew it in with this embroidery floss. I've never used embroidery thread, so I hope that this is not going to be a mistake. It won't break. I'm not concerned about that. So I go 3 lengths plus some. I figure more is better, and I can always just trim it off or leave it on and put dangles on it or whatever. So that's what we're going to do. I think I'm going to leave it thick. I think embroidery floss is 6 threads and 1 bit. But I don't know if it's going to fit in my needle. There it does. Yay! I want it to be nice and secure. So in a 3 pamphlet stitch, I'll describe it as we're doing it here. So I'm going to go in from the inside out. It's turning. And make sure you've got it going in the right direction. So thankfully our cover is not directional, so that wouldn't be a huge problem. And we're going to go into the middle hole in the spine right there. And I'm just going to pull that through, and I'm going to hold on to the tail, and then I'm going to go, and it doesn't matter if your next step is going in through the top hole or the bottom hole. It does not matter, but I'm going to kind of put it in that hole and then separate this a little bit so that I can find my hole in the signature, which can be tricky because this is so small. It is so small. Craziness, isn't it? Oh my goodness, come on. There we go. So I'm putting that there. And the other reason why I like to leave a long tail is if like I let go like I just did, everything's not going to just come undone. And so then you're going to go up from the inside out to the top hole or the opposite hole that you just did. So I'm going to go in the signature and then into the hole in the spine like that. There we go. And then we're going to go back up through the middle hole, or in from the middle hole back to through the signature. There we go. And people always say you have to make sure that you have a string on either side of the center string. I don't worry about that at that point. I'll just pull this up and then run it through rather than kind of like panicking about it when you're trying to get this all tight and in place. So there we go. So that's our first signature. And then you're going to tie it. This I'll probably tie 3 times. Usually with wax thread I just do I tie it twice. So I do the opposite, whatever they call that, box knot. Box knot? I don't know what it's called. But we're going to do 3 in this case. So go forward here. Oh my goodness, fingers work. There we go. And then I like to leave some length in case I want to add beads or something. It's always nice to have the option. And we can take our paper clips off like so. And then we've got our first signature. Look at this preciousness. Oh, love it. Okay, so let's do the second one. See, it's not hard. I think, like, when I first started doing this, I was like, so what is a signature? I don't know what a signature is. It's a group of pages. That's all it is. And it's a way to put things into your journal in pieces so that not all the bulk is like here. So like if it's all just one signature, it's not going to close because it's got too much in the spine that's being impacted. So in case you didn't know that, that is why it's called, I mean, that's what a signature is. But I was really intimidating by doing a pamphlet stitch or sewing it into the, into the cover. It was like really, it was a lot because I'd never done anything like this before. And I've only been doing this for a gosh, what is it? Like maybe going on 1.5 years. I'm not sure. So on this now is all we need to do is make our marks for the signature itself. So I'm hoping that I can kind of get this roughly. You could always measure, guys. You don't have to do what I'm doing. If that perfection and that precision is important to you, by all means, be precise, okay? I've just found that in the look of things, it's fine. And I don't sell my work. I give everything away. So I don't really worry about it. If I sold my journals, I might be a little bit more cognizant of that, but I don't. Okay, so there's that. So let's get some more floss. So we're going to again do 3-ish lengths, ish on the long side, like so. There we go. We've got our needle over here. There we go. Okay, so again, we're going to start in the center of the signature, and again, you do want to make sure that nothing is shifted here, that you haven't flipped this or something. So I'm going to look, and I'm going to see that this is the upwards way, so that is right, and then this is going the right direction, so I'm going to go ahead and go for it. So I'm going to go in the center, from the center of the signature through the center hole of the spine. And I'm going to leave a nice tail, as I mentioned before. I'm going to flip this over, find my hole in the signature, find my hole, my spine, and then find my hole in the signature, which my eyes are not great, so I always struggle a little bit with that. And your hands are also kind of managing quite a bit at this point, just trying to keep everything in place. So now we're going to go in the opposite end hole. So whether you started at the top or the bottom, you would just go in the other one from the inside. And then we're going to go back up through the middle hole, or yeah, from the outside to the inside, like so. I always find this interesting because, like, where's the hole? There it is. There she is. Okay, so I can pull my needle off. And again, you want to make sure that you've got a string on either side of that center string. And that's just make things really secure. So I'm just pulling that kind of tight. And I'm going to tie it in 3 knots. And then we're going to look at it really quick. And then we're going to be done for today. And then in the next video, we will set to putting in creating some ephemera, and then putting it in the journal, and then the cover, the tin decorating and embellishing will be last. So there'll probably be a couple of videos of that, because it can be a kind of an elongated process, because any like metal bits or any three-dimensional pieces, you have to gesso them in order for them to hold the paint. So, or any mediums that you're going to use on the cover. So it does take a little bit of time. So there we go. So there is our little journal. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. It's so adorable. So we've got, let's see, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 pages. So that's 12, and 12 is 24. So there's 24, which means there's 48 sides, I believe. So it's crazy what you can get in one little journal. So let's go ahead and put her in the tin and make sure it works. Wouldn't that be sad? Oh, we need to round the corners of the cover. Oh, wow. That would be bad. Let me get rid of that foam. Hopefully this is not going to be too impactful. It's very thick though. Ooh, that's harsh. My hand is not that strong. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. It's because it's doubled. So I'm basically punching through 130-pound paper. There we we go. One more. You can do it, Cara-Renee. Oh, goodness. Okay, so hopefully that's going to be better. Oh, it's still big. Okay, so we're going to have to, I'm going to have to trim that cover back. We've got a little bit of room, so if you look here, see how I extended that out, and it's apparently too much. So I will work on that off camera, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, you guys. I hope you're having fun. Take care. Bye-bye.